was working on an Any Magazine reader,
Oh,
which he proposed to me. He said, you know, I think it's really important if we go back now and look at what was happening in Any Magazine,
okay.
which is something we started after the
But
conferences.
just the magazines
Just
or
the
the
magazine.
books?
And see, I think the books are more important.
I agree.
But the magazine was different. We started the magazine because we realized if we only did one conference a year, we were going to have to leave out a lot of people for financial reasons.
Yes.
Because these conferences, depending on where they were in the world, were cost anywhere from like $75,000 to $250,000 to do. And the one in Japan was very expensive. One in Korea, because you had to fly so far.
Yes.
Barcelona was less because it was easier to get to. Argentina was really expensive to get to.
They know it's here, but every single time we come here, the coffee's a different price.
So we started the magazine so that we could involve more people in the project. And the magazines were always thematic. And I always worked with the guest editor. So I might have said to you, Yasmin, what are the issues in Lebanon? Or what are the issues in the Middle East? Or what are the issues on the Eastern Mediterranean? Or something. And you would have said, well, we're talking about Turan Bah. And I would have done an issue of the magazine on Turan Bah. I think that's why Mario is attracted to doing the reader from the magazine, because we were picking very hot issues at the moment on...
so we on a different island?
Yeah.
Okay, but wouldn't
that we could get a group of people to talk about intensely on a theme.
Wouldn't it be possible to join in the reader both the magazines and the books? Because I think they are, to a certain extent, complementary.
It gets too big. In the end, if you look, when you're doing it, like when I was doing it, I had no idea how many words I was producing. Now when you go back, and there are 28 issues of Any Magazine, and there are, 10 or 12 articles in every issue, and you want to make a book. No, I don't want to do
pictures
a book
of all
like
of the
this.
magazines.
Yeah, you can do pictures, but
Yeah, no, it took forever.
It's really difficult. I think that Any Magazine reader is a good idea, and yes, there should be one for the books. You know that Ignazi did the Any Magazine on Tafuri.
Yes.
I feel that, yes, my
That
work
is interesting.
Because that was something he was really interested in, and he was the guest editor of that.
Tafuri does come up in his work every now and then. Do you think there was a continuum between his different articles? Because now I'm reading all of his articles in the Any, and it seems that some of the references keep popping up. The photographers, the theoreticians, the psychologists, Deleuze,
Well, you see, you would know better than me because you're reading it now, and I haven't looked at it in how many years?
Right. But did it seem that there is a continuum in the books, or was
But I
it
think this is true
on
of
each point there was a...
if you picked Peter's articles or if you picked Fred Jameson's articles, you would find that each person has certain things that they're thinking about and working on over time. Otherwise, you're just a chameleon, changing with whatever needs to happen. I mean, there were 10 years to the millennium, there are 10 Any words in the English dictionary that are still active. And so it all fit like a puzzle, and we could redefine each Any word to make it, so, because any place and anywhere in English mean the same thing.
Yes.
You could write to me and say, I'll meet you anywhere.
Yes.
Or you could write and say, I'll meet you any place you want.
Yes.
Right?
But then if you divide it where and place are...
We had to make it very different.
Yes.
And for the umbrella of the conferences, how strongly that umbrella affected each participant was different. People did a very good job about paying attention to the end of the word, whether it was place or body or thing. We really tried to focus on that part of the word.
Okay. But each of the authors chose his own way of dealing with it. There was no direction of, like, you will do this idea, for example. No, it was really each person had his own freedom.
If I had invited you, I would have said, Yasmin, we're doing any body conference. This is what any body means. We're talking about the body and space, blah, blah, blah. We hope you will come. You will speak on Friday. These will be your co-panelists. And, you know, John Michael, Sola Morales, Isazaki, and you'd say yes or no.
All right.
If you came and you did a good job, you might be invited again the next year.
Okay.
But
Makes sense.
it's just a, you had to have some kind of framework.
Of course.
For it.
Yes.
Ignazi and Peter and Isazaki always were able to invite people. And then the co-host, Buenos Aires, Paris, whatever, invited the other half of the people.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to be sometimes not a tension between who wants to invite who. Especially at the Buenos Aires, it seemed that they had to invite some people, otherwise the locals would be dismissed, because there was a certain tension already in Buenos Aires that had to be worked around.
And you get to places like Buenos Aires and especially Ankara when we went to Turkey, because they're not in the mainstream, shall we say, or in the main discourse, because they're more remote.
Yes.
There were audience members who really resented you Westerners, or you Northerners coming and telling us what to do, but we were never telling anyone what to do.
There's no internet.
We were there to learn from them as much as we were there to.
But in the Middle East, we're a bit sensitive towards anything that sounds colonizing, any northern hemisphere
reasonably speed internet here.
Yeah, but it's kind of it's usual. Not to be taken very seriously, actually.
I think. Or whatever. Is going to be 6,000 euros.
But so the idea of making the conference in different places in the world, it was in order to attract the most audience possible to this idea, or was it to
No, we wanted to do a
difference?
cross-cultural event. So we started Los Angeles, Japan, a village in the south, not Tokyo, and Barcelona, then we went to Montreal.
Yes.
Word began to get around that we were doing this, and this is a funny analogy, but I think it worked because we said we were only going to do 10. It was a little bit like the Olympics. All of a sudden, Buenos Aires says, we want to do it. Seoul says, we want to do it. Rotterdam says, we want to do it.
Yeah.
Istanbul says, we want to do it. And so there began to be this sort of competition. So every year we would meet while our annual meeting would be at the end of the conference.
Yeah, right after.
Where are we going to go next year?
Yes. And was there also a discussion on the theme and how to
we always negotiated the theme with people.
Okay.
Everybody wanted to do anything.
Really?
And I said no.
Why?
Yeah, so I made a
in a certain sense, I think because it's easy. You know
The
expression, anything goes.
Okay. Yes.
You can do anything.
All right.
Whatever you want, right?
I would think for architecture, any place is much more
Everybody
Useful.
wanted to do anything, and I wouldn't let them do
Oh,
it.
except for the
I saved it for the end precisely because I wanted anything goes
my like
Okay.
my lady has called me
as
like
it's
4 times,
going.
and then my
Bye-bye.
my really good
Yes.
friend
Not
did an awesome thing. And not
anything.
like fail show.
You can talk about
Okay.
whatever you want.
Not in the sense that like
We really
don't
wanted
fail
to
show
talk
because
about
we're
the concept of the
missing
thing.
We don't fail to show up because like she'll be super
Which is very
serious.
different from this object-oriented ontology
good.
that this
Yes.
guy's talking about now. It wasn't about objects.
that's our
It's
plan
about
for like 4 days.
something else.
So
we wanted to save it. People wanted to do anybody as well, but we let
Sexy?
no, not really. We
Did you
wanted.
call them, you're like, "This is the mission sometime in the next 3 months." And they were like,
There was a lot of work being done on the body at the time,
Is it because
especially
of
in
technology?
both technology and feminist theory.
You know, a dinner there. And then,
But we decided to let
we know that they broke
Argentina
up
do it
Yeah.
because if it disappeared,
Okay.
looked at when we left.
population,
Like, somehow that was
people
like
who
the day that
disappeared.
worked out for them. That
and
was available and that was
bodies that disappeared.
Yeah.
I was like estimating how long it would take. It was a
And
good guess.
it worked out well.
Okay.
It is so good.
And the Any Place in Montreal, that was thanks to Phyllis Lambert. Okay. So she moderated the.
She was the host.
She was the host.
Should be,
The
yeah.
host in the Canadian Center was the
Weird
host.
because I haven't really seen any of the.
That was decided
But I have
long
walked around the whole.
time before.
It was decided after Barcelona.
I mean, outside at least.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
but so we
after.
can do. I can.
In the.
But at the same time,
How to get places. It's to the point
both
where
the
I don't need a
Argentinians
map.
and the Koreans
I'm always
came
kind
to
of lost, but
Montreal
it's like I
because
have
they
a journal.
wanted to do the conference, and so we did Korea first. Then we went to, and the Dutch
We're gonna
wanted to
get
do one,
lost.
and
It's
then we
just
went
like
to
it's
Buenos
really easy
Aires,
to
then we
find
went to
yourself
Holland.
again because there's so many.
Was anyone left out?
That then
Any
you're like,
city
oh,
left
yeah,
out?
okay.
We
You-
tried
you
to do
arrive at a-
Beijing,
downtown,
Beijing.
you're like, oh, okay,
but
this is
Beijing,
downtown, this is how I
it was in the mid '90s, and it just wasn't the China we know today. They
Okay.
could not come up with a proposal. They couldn't get the people together to
Okay.
organize it.
It was a hard
We
time.
had contacts, and it didn't work.
I wish something was done in Lebanon, but 90s was horrible. We just went out of a war.
Yeah, it wasn't the timing was wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
No, the
Lebanon
only-
is the Dark Ages.
The only
morning, Michael.
Hey. How's it going? Dave
the
Lifestyle.
only Eastern
You
Show.
want a coffee?
We haven't ordered yet, so.
Eastern,
How are you?
by that I don't mean.
Connection.
No, the only Muslim country we went to was Turkey. And we went to Ankara, not Istanbul. We flew to Istanbul, and then everybody met there for a dinner, and then we got on a plane together, the whole conference, and flew
Really?
to Ankara in the middle
Wow.
of the night. The stuff we did was crazy.
Yes. Yeah, I read some of the letters about the whole organization
Oh,
of
okay. That,
flights
The
and
curators through there.
yes, it's crazy. It's
It
crazy. I spent
was
so
a
much
lot.
time.
But it was great.
Yeah. Seemed to be this way.
Okay. It's a great name.
But that doesn't help you with your subject.
It does because
Did you go to any? Did you get into the?
well, I started my thesis being interested in the interdisciplinary layer to it, to interstitial space, to terrain vague, because I'm part of the Product Art and Science group, which is a group of PhD students that are a collaboration between the 5 universities in Switzerland. And we focus on the interdisciplinary aspect of the different fields that we have specialized. So it was interesting to look at terrain vague from a notion that came out of a will to be interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, and so on. So it's good to hear that according to you, what joins the different people of the NE was this whole will to be interdisciplinary, and so it's a good thing.
Well, and I
to-
think Ignacy was more Deleuzian
Yes.
than Peter and Isazaki, who were more Derridian. And the whole
Yeah.
conference evolved over the.
Ariel was with.
I think so, if I remember correctly. But for sure, over the course of the 10 years, the whole thing shifted from Derrida to Deleuze.
Oh, really?
The thinking.
What about Benjamin?
Well, he's always around.
Yes,
He's
because
still around, right?
okay, yes,
He's the one who survives over all of them.
Yes.
I mean, I think that
He's
now
a Flaneur.
Deleuzian, yeah, exactly, and everybody still wants to be one of those.
Yes.
Whereas Deleuzian thinking, I think, is just so integrated in the whole idea of the digital now that people
Yes.
are not even aware.
Yeah, the whole
that's what
idea
it
of
is.
network is
Yeah, it's just there.
it's there.
The
It's, yeah, I
rhizome,
have to
the
acknowledge
rhizome
it.
is
So.
everywhere, right?
Yes.
Just want to
And layers and all that stuff.
And why Derrida went? Why did it shift away from Derrida?
I'm not that.
I think the younger people were reading Deleuze,
Uh-huh.
and the digital was coming up really fast, really strongly. And so the interests in architecture shifted,
Okay.
just began to change.
And how much interest was in there any conferences in relation to technology? Because I keep seeing that technology was one of those key terms.
I don't
Constantly
remember it. Well, it would be technology more along the lines of the body
Okay.
and networks. It really wasn't. It wasn't about parametricism or any of the stuff
Okay.
we're talking about
Yes.
now. Not at all. It just wasn't. It's changed that much that fast.
Yes, because I think when I
Since-
read technology in the conferences, it seems completely different from
is.
what we say technology now.
For sure.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
Okay. No. Yeah, I wanted the confirmation on
No, you're absolutely right. It's totally different.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at one of the things we did with Annie in 97 or 98, we did an issue of Annie on the virtual house,
Oh,
which was an
I
attempt.
remember that.
The virtual house was a double issue, 1920. If you can find one, good luck, because it's been out of print for a long time. Well, it's on JSTOR.
Morales has.
Can you get JSTOR?
Yes.
It's on
I think I
JSTOR
can.
now.
I think I can.
That is where I think technology that we think about today first, or it had a more prominent role in terms of making architecture.
Virtual.
We did an invited competition to do a virtual house,
Oh,
and then we invited 4 philosophers to talk about the idea of the virtual, and then we had a jury, Kurt Forster, Rebecca Horn, the artist, who's always added technology, no matter, even though it's pretty mechanical to the
Yes.
body, and the Japanese philosopher Akira Asada, and we did a 2-day event in Berlin with these things. It was really, really interesting
okay.
because Toyo Ito, it's when he wrote his story about the U house that he did for his sister and how it got torn down. So now for him it was virtual. Herzog and de Meuron did a website for their office. They hadn't had one before, and they considered that a virtual, their own virtual house. And it was a temporary website. It didn't
Temporary website?
temporary. They didn't keep it up forever. Alejandro Zayaropolo, Peter, Danny Libeskind, they all, Peter did actually a very virtual house. Danny brought in some strange model of something. I don't know how it was virtual.
Okay.
But it was all dealing with changing technologies and architects. Zayaropolo being one of the young ones.
Would you consider that also an interdisciplinary attempt?
Yes, because we had architects, philosophers, artists, historians.
And they all somehow try to deal with the idea of technology and virtual house.
The virtual.
The virtual.
The architects were using the technology. The philosophers were dealing with the concept of the virtual. What did that mean? Because the big threat in architecture in the 90s, we did this in any number 4, I think, called the electrotecture.
Electro?
Electrotecture.
Yes.
It's a term coined by Mark Taylor, who's a philosopher of religion, who was very invested in the architectural discussion at the time, because space to somebody he's a Kierkegaardian, but space for someone like that is as much in the soul as it is in your physical surroundings. And so he was very interested in the virtual, and he was very interested in the changes that were portending for architecture because of chat rooms and things that your generation, take for granted.
Yes.
So there was a lot changing. I couldn't keep up with it all.
Yeah, 10 conferences is not enough, that's for sure. But there was a third
we didn't want to
publication.
answer questions. We wanted to open up questions. We wanted to open up discussion.
You even wrote that at some point in one of the texts that clarify what you do. Yes, we are here more to ask questions than to solve problems or something.
Well, that's my whole philosophy about architecture. Generally.
I mean, there is no point in solving problems. There's always going to be more problems. By solving more problems, you create problems.
Right. For sure.
Yes. And I think also the research work goes in the same direction. Because I started my thesis thinking I will solve problems, and then I realized at the end, no, I think it's like I better just ask questions.
That's actually right.
Yes.
But you have to ask questions of yourself and see if you can find some possible answers.
Give enough data for
But
people
not
to try to
solve
understand.
questions.
Yes.
Not solve problems.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, what I do now with log is
how did log start?
I try to see the big part of the first 10 years of the project was about activating a discussion. We were saying, okay, we need to be thinking about technology. Okay, we need to be thinking about Derrida. Okay, we need to be thinking about feminist theory. We need to be thinking about whatever. Right? We're trying to activate discussion.
Yes.
Log is the opposite. Log is watching.
Really? Okay.
I've only done 2 major events with Log. Issue 10 and issue 29.
Okay.
There have been a few guest edited issues of Log, but not very many. I mean, where Eddie was mostly guest edited, Log is rarely guest edited. Because I don't want to do themes. I don't want to focus on activating a certain thing. I'm trying to observe the shifts going on in discourse. I think architecture doesn't know where it's headed.
There is a lot to be observed.
Yeah.
So, yes.
The world has changed so fast with technology and a global economy and so many things. People didn't want me to stop any, even though the conferences were over.
Gonna ask about that.
But I decided, if the conferences are done, the magazine's done. It was extremely difficult to support in the United States. There's no money for theory in the United States.
Yes.
We had Japanese funding because Japan will invest in ideas, and the United States doesn't, shall we say.
Okay.
So
it's good you had funding.
Yeah. We had very little money in the United States for the project. It was Japanese, Korean, German. We didn't have U.S. funding.
Also for the conferences?
The conferences were locally paid for. So the Argentinians,
so locally funded.
Tina did Buenos Aires, Turkey did Ankara, the
The
hosts
Canadian was
paid for by Montreal, Los Angeles paid for by the Getty. I mean, if you wanted to host the conference, you had to raise the money to bring everybody there.
okay. And how come the archives of the Any are in Montreal? Thanks to Phyllis?
Thanks to Nicholas Olsberg, who was the director of the CCA at the time when the Any project was ending. He said, I want to buy the archive.
Okay.
So I sold him the entire archive of all the video, all the audio, all the correspondence, all the editing, everything. And I kept nothing for myself. It was really stupid. To work on that project now, I have to go to Montreal to do it.
Okay.
And because they bought
Which
it.
project?
No, if I were to go back and try to write something about what happened, I'd have to go there to research it because I have nothing.
I will be there between the 20th of June and end of July in case you need anything. If I can help, I will be looking at the archives.
People write to me and say, can't you send me a photograph? Even Isozaki said, can you send me the photos from the Anywhere conference? And I said, I can't. I don't have them. They're all in Montreal.
Yes. But not, you can only get one piece of the archives. The only one piece of the archive is available for public because the rest is still under
they haven't sorted it out yet.
No. And it's a pity because I really wanted to go and grab onto all the archives, but then now it's
you have to push them.
Yeah, I'm trying.
When you're there,
I'm
you
trying
have
to
to
push them
say,
a bit.
can we please open up X year or something? See if they would do it. But
yes. I even, since you mentioned that you might be interested in going there, I kind of slipped that information. Like maybe, maybe you might be interested in going there. Maybe you should work more about. Yeah.
I'll have to. I can't go this summer, but
okay. Well,
the CCA, because they bought the archive, allowed me to finish the project because our funding ran out in 2000, and I still had to do the 2000 conference book, and I still had to do the last issue of Any, and I still had a senior editor I had to pay.
okay.
So I got no money, but the CCA, I mean, I got no salary to finish it because the money was finished.
Yes.
But because the CCA paid the Anyone Corporation money for the archive, I was able to pay Tom Weaver, who's now does AA files. He works for the AA.
Tom Weaver?
Yeah, Weaver. And
How do you write his name? Sorry.
like a weaver who weaves.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, like makes cloth.
All right.
Tom, and we finished the Anything book in the last Any 27, and then he went back to London, and I quit. And then when the world, I said I'm not doing any more magazines. It's too hard. But when the World Trade Center went down, the discussion afterwards about how to rebuild New York City was so horrible. And everyone was concerned only with image, particularly on the skyline, that I decided I had to start a new magazine. Because I thought
how Log started?
I thought there was too much emphasis on image, so I started a magazine that resisted.
It was not about image.
Resisted the seductive power of the image.
Yes.
That's why it's black and white, it's literary format, and I'm really surprised we're still doing it.
Is it going well? Is there an audience? Because I think there is a need for such a magazine.
Every time I go somewhere, people tell me I can never quit.
Yes.
We just did, issue 31 is at the printer right now. That's a lot of numbers. And issue 32, I've got half the writing already in-house. We're going to do a lot on the Biennale. You could write for it.
Yes, would love to.
No, we are especially asking people, you should tell everyone you know.
Okay.
We are asking people to send us between 100 and 300 words on one thing at the Biennale.
Oh, really?
Yeah, observations. So you could do one thing. You could do the drop ceiling. You could do the Swiss Pavilion. You could do the best meal you had. You could do whatever, right?
Okay.
But you have to have a photo with it.
With a photo.